They just do everything well. They really do. They do everything well. There's not really a hole in that team. You could say maybe holes in the roster, but the coaching staff does a really good job at minimizing those holes. And there's no real way to exploit them, I don't think, because they can beat you in a ball control type game. They can beat you in a shootout, and that defense is damn good. So you've got your work cut out for you there in that AFC North there. So it's gonna be a great game. I think it's very fortunate for Baltimore that they're going to be running into Pittsburgh next week after a bye. I think that's very helpful. And what was also a very hard fought game for Pittsburgh. I think that was a pretty tough game against Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested to see, especially after, and I hate to even say it to you, pal, but after Baltimore faltered against the last really good team that they ran into. So it should be an awesome game. Are the Ravens at home or away for the next game against the Steelers?
It don't matter. We're kicking their ass.
We're
kicking their ass. It don't matter if we play in Pittsburgh, Baltimore. It doesn't matter if we play in Canada. We're going to kick their ass all up and down the United States of America. That was my rock impersonation.
That was pretty good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was pretty good. That was
it's in Baltimore though. We're at home.
In Baltimore?
We're having about 4,000 to 5,000 fans in the stands. I'm so happy that Pittsburgh lost their bye week. I'm so happy about that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, good. I'm glad they had it early in the season. Now you guys get to just slave throughout the whole season, and then we get to play you guys again a second time, kick your ass again a second time, and then play you a third time, hopefully in the playoffs, and kick your ass again in the third time in the playoffs. So that's my prediction.
You are not playing around.
Yeah. Fuck Pittsburgh. I'm not holding no punches, man.
I don't blame you.
It's war. Seattle, Arizona, that again, Sunday night football, beautiful game. You couldn't ask for a better game. Russell Wilson against mini Russell Wilson. Like it was awesome to watch, man. So many highlights. Like you got where do you want to start? Like DK chasing a dude down, a fucking 6'6", 250-pound grown man running a 4.2 40. Just chasing down a fucking 190-pound dude. Like, come on, bro. That was the most entertaining thing I think I've ever seen in a football game.
The level of entertainment in that game, if you had to sit down and tell somebody to watch one game this year, that might have been the game.
Yes.
That game had it all except for defense. I think that the Seahawks got exploited there, and the way to beat the Seahawks is just full steam ahead offense. That defense is just not good. One of the things I heard earlier today is that they're averaging 6.3 yards per play against them on defense, which, it sounds like just kind of a goofy stat. But when you realize that is not only the highest in the league by a long shot, but the other two teams that have over 6 yards given up per play by the defense are the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 1-6. And then the other team that is right there, way down on the bottom of that list, are the Atlanta Falcons. And they're also giving up 6 yards per play on defense, and they are sitting at 1-6. So the one thing that I will say about this Seahawks team is that they've got Russell Wilson in that offense, and they are carrying that team right now. Because other teams that are similar have a combined 2-12 record, while the Seahawks sit at 5-1 on top of their division. So let Russ cook, man, because that team is running through him right now.
Let Russ cook. Let him buy the groceries, man. Let him saute the food. Let him see like this shit is, their defense is horrific.
Let him hire the wait staff, everything. Let him do whatever he wants to do over there.
Because they talking about MVP. People saying now Tom Brady's MVP and shit like that. I'm like, no. That game just epitomized that Russell Wilson is the MVP. That's the only chance that they had, was him having the performance that he did. And he did throw, 3 interceptions in that game?
Yes. One of which was really bad and his fault.
Yeah. But, Isaiah Simmons, we had an Isaiah Simmons sighting. That dude has played 12 snaps over the last 4 games. He made a crucial interception in that, was that overtime? Yeah, that was overtime. Yeah. He got that pick. That was dope. Shout out to Kyler, man. You going up against the dude that everybody is comparing you to. The reason why you went number 1 overall, honestly, let's be honest, Russell Wilson had a major factor with that, proving that you can win with a 5'10" quarterback. And he came out and performed, man. That throw to Hopkins, where they said that they was looking to the right to kind of psych him out, and then hiked the ball and caught him off guard and threw that dime to Hopkins. That was a beautiful throw and a great catch by DeAndre, man. He's such a fucking awesome receiver. And then like that 2-minute drive that or not even, it's like a minute with no timeouts to drive down the field and get a field goal to tie the game and send it to overtime. That was so greatly executed. Like I just kind of wrote them off too. Like I feel bad. Like I wrote off saying this Arizona team isn't really good, which I mean, they still gave up 34 points. But Kyler, man, I like this kid. I like him a lot, bro. I really do. He's so awesome.
I could watch these two teams play each other all day because they are very much mirror images of each other, right? From, having dominant receiving cores to having, short but entertaining and mobile quarterbacks. Both of the teams having no defense whatsoever to speak of. And it was a whole hell of a lot of fun to watch them. My last shout out in this game goes out to Tyler Lockett. How about poor Tyler Lockett? 15 catches, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns in a loss. What more did that young man have to do? And what I will say is this. I thought he was going to be more of a gadget type player, punt returner type guy, and he has turned into one of the most complete receivers in the NFL. So I've been saying it a few times. I've caught myself now saying it a few times this year that Tyler Lockett really has turned into a complete player. And for me, he's a top 5 receiver in the NFL. He really is. Just top to bottom, he's there. He's really there.
I was just about to ask you that question, man. Where do you rank Tyler? You put him in your top 5, huh?
I think he goes into the top 5. And this is not something that I was like prepared to speak to, but I kind of just found it tumbling out of my mouth. But yeah, I think he's top 5. Just the way he can stretch the field, the way he can go over the middle, the way he runs sideline routes. He's a great route runner. He's not gonna help you out in the blocking game much. Mm-hmm. You're probably gonna rely more on DK Metcalf for some tight ends in that regard. But then he can also return punts and kicks when necessary. This kid's a home run hitter. He can do it all. So I think he's up there. If we were to do a breakdown of receivers in the NFL, he'd have to slot into the top 5.
DK Metcalf reminds me of like I'm watching T.O. in his prime. Like just a physical specimen. Like just a dude that's. I'm sitting there watching it, and I watched that highlight like 50 times, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, how can a human being be that big and that fast and that explosive? And like that was just all on display from that chase down that he had on Budda Baker.
Well, the thing with the chase down for me is that, he didn't chase down some, 36-year-old free safety, right? And he also didn't start anywhere near the play, because what you see come onto your screen when you watch that for the first time is you just see him kind of emerge and catch Budda Baker. Okay, Budda Baker, 25, 26-year-old absolute stud, which I called out last week, safety for the Cardinals. You see him chase him down. Now, you've seen that happen before, right? Yeah. You've seen players get walked before, right? I mean, that's why it's an expression, right? This guy got walked. But then you watch the full replay. DK was coming around. He had to come around the whole pileup of players and was at something, and don't quote me on it, but he was somewhere around like the 10 or 15 yard line while Budda Baker was already at like the 30. So the amount of catching up he had to do and how quickly because he didn't just catch him like by the time they got to the end zone. He caught him by what, like the 15-yard line?
Yeah, 10-yard line, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely incredible hustle play. That's exactly what you want to see. And I was very happy to see that out of him because I told you I was disappointed. Just in my mind, when you're watching these games, you watch these players and you have these, bizarre attachments to players, and you have these guys that you just don't like for some reason, just complete irrational hate for certain players, right? As we do as NFL fans, right? You just don't like a guy. And I really like DK. And then he had that pass, man, where he dropped the ball early. He got walked. He celebrated too early, and he cost his team a touchdown. But he totally redeemed himself right here for me. That chase down play, there's nothing more of a hustle play than that. And so he owed Russell Wilson one, and he gave it back this week. So
what do you call it when somebody chase somebody down? You said you call it getting walked?
Got walked. Yeah.
I never heard that expression. We call it getting hawked.
Getting hawked?
Yeah, he got hawked down.
He got hawked down? That's a thing. But I've heard a guy got walked. Like it made it look like he was walking because the other guy caught him up from behind.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I learned something new.
Yeah, that's a throwback expression. I was
going to say that. Like, I think our age differences are kind of.
Yeah, my dad and uncle used to say that. That's some shit you would have seen James Lofton for the Buffalo Bills in 1991 get walked. That's something you would have heard back there.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, man, what a week for football. It was a great week, entertaining week. I loved what you said about, by the way, I didn't get a chance to comment on it, but I loved when you said that when you don't have a dog in the hunt, it's great to watch. The Dolphins were on bye as well. I had no fantasy action going, and my only concern was my survivor pool. And I'll tell you, it was a hell of a week. I watched the Patriots get stomped. I watched a really, all for the wrong reason, entertaining game between the Giants and Eagles. I watched a incredibly entertaining game for the right reasons between the Seahawks and Cardinals. And I'll tell you, man, it was a great week.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You said that you had a certain stat that you wanted to throw out there, right? That was kind of interesting.
Yeah. A couple of things to kind of talk about it.
Okay.
I was going to hopefully kind of bring it up organically somewhere in the conversation, and it didn't exactly fit, but I wanted to kind of talk about just very briefly here, just the way the game has evolved in general. So we did talk about Russell Wilson. That was one of the last players we were just talking about. He has 22 touchdown passes so far this year. All right. For the sake of comparison here, what I'm going to be looking at is the stats this year so far for quarterbacks in 2020 versus the quarterback stats in the year 2000.
Okay.
It's a 20-year gap, which to me saying that now sounds absolutely crazy in my mind because 2000 doesn't seem that long ago,
nuts,
right? It's crazy to me that that's 20 years ago. But that's still modern football to me, the year 2000, right? We're not talking about, the years of Fran Tarkenton. We're not talking further back than that when we're talking Sammy Baugh. We're not talking Bart Starr. We're not talking the days gone era where 17 touchdown passes was going to lead the league in touchdowns, right?
Right.
But this is a fairly modern football, the year 2000. Yeah. Okay, so
4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns was more of a thing than now.
Right.
In 2000. Right.
So looking at this here, and I love that you just pointed that out because that's exactly what I'm getting to. So Russell Wilson has thrown 22 touchdown passes. 22 at the end of the season, okay, would have gotten you 6th place at the end of the year. Okay, so that to me is insane. He's already there. Now, granted, that's the league leader right now, but he's on pace to throw over 50 touchdowns, which would have been,
it's only been 7 games.
And for Russell Wilson, it's been less than that. Russell Wilson has played 6 games.
Right.
Got 22 touchdown passes. Absolutely insane. So when I saw that, it kind of got my mind going about a couple of other things. So in brief, in 2020 so far, we talk about quarterback rating. That's one of the ways that we look at how successful quarterbacks are playing. This year, there are 23 quarterbacks that have played at least 5 games. They've played their full slate of games. There are 23 quarterbacks above a 90 for the QB rating. Okay. There are 11 above 100. In the year 2000, there were 4 quarterbacks, 4 that finished above a 90 and 0 that finished above 100. So it's just, it kind of goes to show you the direction that this game has taken and the direction that it's all about the air attack now. If you weren't convinced yet, if we're talking completion percentage, that's one of the big stats that everybody talks about as far as efficiency is concerned for quarterbacks. There were this year so far, in the year 2020, there are 28 quarterbacks. 28. That is essentially enough for every single team in the league to have 60% or above on completion percentage. 5 are above 70. In the year 2000, there were only 8 that finished the season above 60, and 0 were higher than 63.3%. So you go from an era where, 28 were above 60 to 8, and in the last example, 23 to 4 for overall quarterback rating. And it kind of makes you wonder, it gave me pause because I thought to myself, is having an elite quarterback still as important as ever? And I would say, yes, absolutely. Right. This is a time where, 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns might not even make the playoffs. Right. I mean, it sounds like Joe Burrow is going to get there. So for a year where 33 touchdowns in the year 2000, 33 touchdowns led the league, and there were only 2 quarterbacks to throw for over 30. It's looking like those types of numbers are just being shattered now. And you could talk about the way the officials call the games. You could talk about the rules that have been put into place. But I just thought it was an interesting kind of thing to look at to see what an absolute disparity there is between, modern football in